Good evening and many thanks for joining us, and welcome to CoreTV News at 7 with me, Emmanuel Ezekiel. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has decided to hear objections and motion in suit challenging the eligibility of the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Muhammadu Buhari, for Saturday's presidential election. It has, however, not fixed a date for hearing. Presiding Judge Justice Adeni Ademola also set a March 25 date for ruling on whether parties seeking to be joined as co-defendants in the suit will be allowed. But plaintiff counsel Mike Ozekome expressed objection to the application for joinder. He described Ebonluwa Adeburuwa and others seeking to join the suit as meddlesome in interlopes. Moving on now, a federal high court in Lagos has mandated the Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) to pay 500 million naira to the All Progressives Congress for suspending the party's presidential campaign fundraising platform. Apart from NCC, the other judgment and the other judgment debtors are Etisalat, MTN Nigeria Limited, Globalcom Limited, Airtel Nigeria Limited, and Visaphone Communications Limited. In a judgment on a fundamental human rights enforcement suit filed by APC, Justice Ibrahim Buba held that the NCC acted beyond its powers in suspending the fundraising platform of the APC, which was meant to generate funds to prosecute the presidential bid of the party. NCC had ordered telecom firms Etisalat, MTN, Glo, Airtel and Visaphone to stop running the SMS code platform 350 created by APC to raise funds. Issuing the directive, NCC warned the telecoms firms against running political promotions that would portray them as being partisan. In his judgment, Justice Buba condemned the directive, declaring it illegal, null and void. The judge also awarded 500 million naira damages against the defendants jointly and severally. The judge further dismissed the preliminary objections and counter-affidavits filed against the suit by the defendants. In the originating motion, the party had urged the court to award 25 billion naira damages against the defendants for violating fundamental rights of its members. Now, the Inspector General of Police, Suleiman Abba, is insisting that voters should go home after casting their votes on Saturday in spite of criticism trailing his stance. The police chief, who spoke at a national stakeholder summit in Abuja, said his position is fully backed by law. He subsequently reeled out a portion of the Electoral Act which bars voters from loitering at polling units to justify his position. But representatives of the political parties at the forum argued the electorate have every right to stay about 300 meters away from the voting area. More details in subsequent bulletins. The Independent National Electoral Commission says the card readers stolen in Zamfara State cannot be useful to the culprits and their sponsors. This, according to the Commission, is because it has not been configured to any polling unit. Spokesman for INEC, Chairman Kayode Idowu, told CoreTV News in Abuja that the theft would not affect elections in the state. And with the 2015 elections a matter of days away, America's President Barack Obama has advised Nigerians on the importance of having a free, fair and credible elections. The American president, who says he is talking to the Nigerian people, called for all hands to be on deck to ensure that the polls are free, fair and credible, while adding that the quest to make the polls successful is one that is of concern to all Nigerians and must be involving to all. He also advised Nigerians to reject messengers of hate and intolerance.
Hello. Today I want to speak directly to you, the people of Nigeria. Nigeria is a great nation, and you can be proud of the progress you've made. Together you've won your independence, emerged from military rule, and strengthened democratic institutions. You've strived to overcome divisions and turn Nigeria's diversity into a source of strength. You've worked hard to improve the lives of your families and to build the largest economy in Africa. Now you have a historic opportunity to help write the next chapter of Nigeria's progress by voting in the upcoming elections. For elections to be credible, they must be free, fair, and peaceful. All Nigerians must be able to cast their votes without intimidation or fear. So I call on all leaders and candidates to make it clear to their supporters that violence has no place in democratic elections, and that they will not incite, support, or engage in any kind of violence before, during, or after the votes are counted. I call on all Nigerians to peacefully express your views and to reject the voices of those who call for violence. And when elections are free and fair, it is the responsibility of all citizens to help keep the peace, no matter who wins.
Also called on all Nigerians to reject a perversion of the Islamic religion personified by the Boko Haram terror group.
Successful elections and democratic progress will help Nigeria meet the urgent challenges you face today. Boko Haram, a brutal terrorist group that kills innocent men, women, and children, must be stopped. Hundreds of kidnapped children deserve to be returned to their families. Nigerians who have been forced to flee deserve to return to their homes. Boko Haram wants to destroy Nigeria and all that you have built. By casting your ballot, you can help secure your nation's progress. I'm told that there's a saying in your country, to keep Nigeria one is a task that must be done. Today I urge all Nigerians, from all religions, all ethnic groups, and all regions, to come together and keep Nigeria one. And in this task of advancing the security, prosperity, and human rights of all Nigerians, you will continue to have a friend and partner in the United States of America.
In a related story, ECOWAS chairman and Ghanaian President John Mahama on Monday met with his Nigerian counterpart Goodluck Jonathan ahead of the March 28 presidential election. Speaking to journalists after the closed session, President Mahama said the visit is to ensure that elections are free and transparent. The Ghanaian president also expressed hope that the results will be accepted by the electorate, leaving no room for post-election violence.
Extended my solidarity to the Nigerian people through my brother, President Jonathan, to say that the whole of ECOWAS, not only ECOWAS, but the international community is in solidarity with Nigeria to have a very transparent and free election so that the democratic process in Nigeria will be further entrenched. This is a critical election for Nigeria, and it will be one more indication to the world that Nigeria is a democratic and a democratic country ruled by the tenets of good governance and rule of law. And so we want to wish you all the best. We are also meeting with the INEC to look at the state of preparedness. I believe that following the postponement of the elections from the 14th to the 28th, it has given the INEC much more time to be able to complete, all its processes and be in readiness to ensure that voters are not disenfranchised and that the results of the elections are accepted. We expect that there will be no post-election violence and that all the parties involved in this election will accept the results of the election in good faith when INEC has announced them. ECOWAS will continue to monitor the situation and will do everything possible to stand in solidarity with the Nigerian people to ensure that these elections pass off successfully and Nigeria continues in the role that it plays in our sub-regional body. As you know, Nigeria is a very important member of ECOWAS, the largest economy and the largest population in the ECOWAS region. And so Nigeria's safety and security is the safety and security of the whole of the ECOWAS region. And so all the presidents, I stand on behalf of all the presidents of ECOWAS and wish that all Nigerians will come out and express, their votes, and their votes will count towards electing who becomes the next leader of this country.
We'll go for a very quick break. The news returns shortly. Stay with us.
Don't you wish your mommy was fine like mine? Yeah. Don't you wish your mommy was smart like mine? Yeah. Don't you? Don't you wish your mommy could laugh like mine?
And that's why every mom should take 3 Crowns milk with low cholesterol to help stay fit and healthy so she can take extra care of her family.
Don't you wish your wifey was hot like mine?
3 Crowns now comes in powder.
Vote for change! Vote APC!
When I was younger, I can remember a time when corruption was a thing of shame.
I dream of a future where we won't have challenges with electricity.
I'm voting for Buhari because he understands our past and our history.
I dream of a time where we're going to have free and honest election.
I remember a time when 1 naira was equal to £1.
I am voting for Buhari because we need change for a brighter future.
Nigeria! APC! Change!
Welcome back. You're still watching CoreTV News at 7. You can reach us on the following social media platforms: Facebook, facebook.com/CoreTV News, and our Twitter handle at CoreTV News NG. And reach our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space, and then news. Now, staying with the 2015 polls, with just a few days to the March 28 presidential election, a pro-Jonathan group is demanding that permanent voter cards be used without smart card readers. This, it says, is because the devices cannot guarantee a credible process. Addressing a press conference in Abuja, the National Unity Group argued that the outcome of the election could plunge the country into avoidable crisis if INEC does not abandon its plans to use the card readers. The group maintained that the refusal of INEC Chairman Atahiru Jega to publish results of the test run carried out in selected states leaves a lot to be desired.
In order to avert avoidable political and constitutional crisis, INEC should quickly discontinue the planned use of smart card readers and instead use the PVCs without smart card readers, as was done in Osun and Ekiti states. It is instructive to recall that the smart card were not used in the 2011 elections, and yet the elections were adjudged locally and internationally as the best in the history of Nigeria as free, fair, and credible. The signs are now clear that if the smart card readers are used, the results will be less credible than the 2011 election, and this will plunge the country into avoidable crisis and anarchy.
Few days to reschedule elections in Edo, members of the civil society group have intensified awareness campaign on the need for Nigerians to come out en masse to exercise their franchise. Omobude Aro, the coordinating general of the civil society organization, who led others on a sensitization rally across major streets in Benin metropolis, said the aim is to help complement efforts of INEC in voter education.
Members of the civil society will trek around major streets Benin City in company of security operatives to share views and sensitize the public on the need to come out and vote on the set date, called on people who have collected their permanent voter cards to ensure they vote. Coordinator of the group, Imobu Diago, says the era has gone where activities of folks determine the fate and aspirations of the people, adding that only their PVC and the card reader can do the magic.
Every vote now they count. Power has come back to the people. Every vote now they count because of the card reader machine. Nobody will take your vote. Many people not going to vote maybe 100 number that they count because of the card reader. So we for civil society, when they support the card reader, and they must use them. Because they don't give power to the people. Is it give power to who?
It will be recalled that the State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Mikey Guinea, had informed the public in one of the interactive sections with civil groups that the only challenge they are facing is for the people to endeavor to come out and vote, stressing that previous records indicate that fewer people voted compared to the voter cards collected.
As President Barack Obama advises Nigerians against violence in the forthcoming general elections, Ado-Ekiti, the Ekiti state capital, is getting ready to play host to the vice presidential candidate of the APC, Yemi Osinbajo, and was the theater of war as APC supporters who were on their way to the town hall meeting to be addressed by the APC vice presidential candidate. Rashid reports from Ado-Ekiti.
The event, originally designed as a walk, was later converted to a town hall meeting of the All Progressives Congress. And as the crowd waited for the party's vice presidential candidate, Yemi Osinbajo, thugs allegedly descended on those coming to the venue, beating them silly. These party supporters gave an account of what they experienced.
We are coming from Igede. We have about 7 buses branded coming. As we are coming, we have to bypass the main road to pass through the outskirts so that we will not have any interference with anybody in the town. There was a trailer that blocked the road. We were even thinking that the trailer was about turning. The next thing we had was gunshots. Bam, 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 from nowhere. Initially we are trying to look at what is really happening. Maybe it was a kind of misunderstanding. But later we saw these guys, about 4 or 5 FT guys. They dressed in black, started shooting. The whole result was this.
If truly you have supporters, if truly the people of Ekiti are for you, I see no reason why any party or any governor, for that matter, should go out and be waylaying people. In the course of that, attacking them. Does it mean if this is few days to election, if this is happening few days to election, what will happen on election day?
On arrival of the vice presidential candidate with other party leaders, Yemi Osinbajo says the security agencies and the government must do more to protect people in the lead up to the polls. He also admonished members of his party to be steadfast while urging the people of Ekiti to vote massively for the APC.
Regardless of party, regardless of tribe, government cannot afford to fail in that responsibility. Once a government fails in that responsibility, it has failed in everything. So that's what we expect. We expect only that the government will do the right thing, ensure security of life.
As part of the working arrangement between the APC and the Labour Party in the state, Labour Party leader Opeyemi Bamidele condemned the incessant attacks on opposition supporters in the state. He, however, added that the March 28 elections will change the tide of events in the state.
The issue at stake now is how all of us can work together to ensure the victory of General Muhammadu Buhari and Professor Yemi Osinbajo. The International Court of Justice is waiting to prosecute people at the end of this election. As far as I'm concerned, anyone who perpetrates violence because you are in a position of authority is taking the risk of being prosecuted by the International Court.
The coming days is expected to be full of political intrigues with a tinge of violence, despite repeated assurances. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has accused the All Progressives Congress of producing a documentary with a view to inciting the masses against the federal government. Spokesman for PDP Presidential Campaign Council, Femi Fani-Kayode, said this at a news conference in Abuja, that the opposition figures will be held responsible if any of its leaders is hurt. He also lashed out at the APC for suggesting that the government had a hand in the abduction of over 200 schoolgirls from Chibok, Borno State, almost a year ago.
The opposition party is such that they are prepared to say and do anything in order to denigrate the powers that be, to undermine our nation, and to incite our people and to bring the president, the government, and its officials into disrepute. The latest video, which was produced by a group called APC New Video, was quietly procured and secretly viewed by the intelligence units of this directorate. Amongst other things, they have listed as topics a number of issues and allegations, some of which are listed below. 1, that many Nigerians are using private jets, and that this, in some way, is indicative of the corrupt nature of the Nigerian people, which is, of course, absurd. 2, that in the last 4 years, the government has spent 48 billion naira on the presidential air fleet, which is, of course, a preposterous lie. Thirdly, they raised issues about the kidnapping of the Chibok girls, insinuating that somehow the government had a hand in the whole affair and that they are hiding the girls. Fourthly, they raised issues about the comments of Stephen Davis, the Australian negotiator, who alleged that a friend of the president's, Governor Ali Modu Sheriff, is sponsoring Boko Haram. They made all kinds of allegations, including the alleged relationship between the president of Chad the President of Nigeria, and Governor Ali Modu Sheriff. Needless to say, these allegations are baseless and they are simply unbelievable.
We'll go for another quick commercial break. When the news returns, we'll bring you more stories as well as news outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
The power to change Nigeria is in your hands. Now is the time to go out and vote. Vote to Buhari, vote for change. Chandela Dibo, Kufweto Kuzapi change. So you vote to give Makamba way.
Say no to corruption. Say no to insecurity. No to unemployment. No to inequality. Vote for Buhari.
Nigeria! APC!
The army was not supposed to be visible or to be around any polling unit unless there is a breakdown of law and order and they have been invited by the Inspector General of Police.
That elections are sheltered in Africa is no news. But in Nigeria, it comes with consequences.
Against the will of one man.
Consequences that have toggled the nation's politics and may shape how Nigeria elects.
This is the year of PDP.
The momentum gathers.
When we promise, we deliver.
The fireworks is unending.
We did it and continue to do it.
55 years this year, and in her fourth republic, this is Nigeria's 5th general elections. All the action, all the news, the updates, and the news behind the news we will bring to you live from the field and in the studio on CoreTV News as Nigeria elects.
Welcome back. The Independent National Electric Commission, INEC, in Osun State has pegged the distribution of PVCs in the state to 73.5%. Adekunle Gumala, the resident electoral commissioner, made this known at a news conference in El Shogbo. Rashid has the details.
In Ekiti State, Osun was next to sample the use of permanent voter cards in its governorship election. This puts Osun in a vantage position for high PVC collection rate. Before the 2014 gubernatorial election, Osun achieved almost 70% collection rate. The latest statistics from INEC reveals that out of the more than 1.4 million registered voters in the state, a little over 1 million have collected their PVCs.
Right now it's about 73.5%, which is quite impressive, judging from the fact that the gubernatorial election attracted a lot of interest from the indigenes of Osun State, and one expected that at that time, most of those that are interested in the electoral process will have collected.
One wonders what seems to be responsible for this seeming apathy in the collection of PVCs between August 2014 and now.
But the turn-up has not been encouraging at all. For instance, today, I've seen just 7 people come for their cards, and we have, at least if I can like gauge the amount of cards that we have there, we should have up to like 1,000 cards, if not more. So, but people have not really been turning up for their cards.
You know, we had an election in August, so most of our people have their PVCs. And I have my PVC, we don't have that problem. So you see, our own INEC is not that inundated with people. But in general terms, if you look at the southwest, the PVC collection is skewed more towards the north.
But politicians have not relented in sensitizing and mobilizing their supporters in the collection of PVCs, knowing full well that without PVCs, no votes.
The gubernatorial election is more important to the people of Osun State than any other election. At a particular point, our people had to invite people that were moving around, that please come, look at these cards. Can you identify any of these people? Because this is your environment. And some people say, oh yes, they were able to identify about 6 of such people. I said, these 5, they've gone back to the north. This one is in Lagos, that type of thing.
We've been on the radio, we've been on the TV, we've been advocating, we've been convincing the people to go and collect their PVCs, and I can assure you that they're collecting their PVCs.
Our people, they are always ready. We have collected enough, and even tomorrow, people can still come. Today, they are collecting. People are coming home. If you are a familiar voter, in Ijesa land. There are no imported voters this time around.
With this current collection rate in Osun, the state seems set for the general elections, all things being equal. Rashid, CoreTV News, Oshogbo.
And that's CoreTV News at 7. To join us at 9:45 for our primetime news. In the meantime, the reporter comes up shortly. Stay with us. I am Emmanuel Ezekiel.